The way media cover war has evolved over time. While photography dominated World War I, broadcasting and newsreels influenced World War II. Vietnam was known as the TV war. But perhaps the biggest jump in the way war is covered took place at the onset of the Gulf War. During the Gulf War, media outlets were there to cover the events in real time with around-the-clock coverage. U.S. Navy Commander Charles Maxwell recalls,
I did not, and mostly the media that we had, the embeds that we had, for example, in the Gulf, they generally were up in what we call flag country. This is the area where the admiral is and his staff. It's all the senior staff officers, and so most of the ship. Now I had access because I was part of that as the Desron staff, but most of the ship would never go in these areas. So most of the embeds were in these areas, and so the admiral would have a 10-minute chat with these guys time to time during the day. And then, of course, we'd bring them on deck, put them on the planes, and show them flight deck operations. So that's the kind of stuff you saw on CNN back in the States, who said, I'm out here on the flight deck of the USS Cary, and it is loud, and they'd go on and on about all those things. And to them, it was a real treat, because who amongst us gets to do that?
The Gulf War was a response from an alliance of 34 countries, led by the U.S., to Iraq's invasion and takeover of Kuwait. As tensions in the globe rose, war began to seem inevitable.
What we have seen is a redoubling of Saddam Hussein's efforts to destroy completely Kuwait and its people.
On January 17, 1991, Operation Desert Storm launched. The war began with aerial and naval coalition forces bombing Kuwait in an attempt to push Iraqi troops out of the area. On February 24th, coalition forces followed the 5-week aerial assault by putting boots on the ground and drove remaining Iraqi troops over the border and back into Iraq. Coalition efforts proved to be quick and decisive. Both sides agreed to a ceasefire 100 hours after coalition ground troops were deployed. Aside from the nonstop coverage, another unique technique that media used in their portrayal of the Gulf War was by covering both viewpoints of the U.S. and its coalition, as well as those of Saddam Hussein. Often seen in war coverage today, media during the Gulf War not only portrayed the effects of war overseas, but also its effects at home.
No, I didn't think it would come tonight, and I didn't think it would hit quite so hard. I knew that there were airplanes launched. I don't know if he's one of them. I'm scared. I can't think of a better place to have been tonight than to have been in church.
Operation Desert Storm ended on February 28, 1991, with the coalition and U.S. forces pushing Iraqi troops out of Kuwait and back into Iraqi territory. Today, war is covered over a variety of platforms and broadcast almost simultaneously, whether it's social media sites like Twitter and Facebook that helped contribute to the spread of the Arab Spring, or traditional media outlets covering conflicts in a live 24-hour news cycle. One thing is certain: the way media paints the picture of war has a major influence on public opinion.